Today we're going to be talking about Thursday's activity in our Buying with Credit investigation. So if I click on our slide for Thursday in the Google Slides presentation for our activity, it's all about the cost of carrying a credit card balance. So hopefully as you watched the videos earlier in the week, you learned that with a credit card, if at the end of the billing period, get your bill and you pay it in full, you don't actually have to pay interest. It's only if you carry a balance or don't pay your amount in full that you do actually have to pay interest on your purchases. So we're going to once again use the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada's website, and we're going to see if we can find how much it's going to cost for us to do a $500 purchase that's charging 19.99% per year in interest. And that's a pretty standard rate for credit cards, which hopefully you discovered yesterday. So before I click on the tools, I do want to look at what I'm going to be filling out. So we're going to compare 4 different things. So option number 1 says pay the whole balance at the end of the month. So that means we made a purchase of $500. At the end of the month, first time we're going to pay that $500. It took us 1 month to pay it off, and we didn't pay any interest, right? Because we made the purchase, we got the bill, we paid the bill before the due date, and it basically just cost us $500. We didn't have to pay anything extra. But that isn't always the case with the credit card. Sometimes you can't afford to pay it all off, so you might just pay part of it and then pay part of it the next month. So there are some different options here that are built into the tool that we're about to use. So the first column, the next column is option A, which is to just make the minimum monthly payment. So on your credit card, when you get your credit card bill, it will give you a minimum monthly payment. So it will say you owe us $500, but you need to make a minimum payment of this amount. And it's obviously going to be lower than $500. Option number B is what if I pay more than the minimum monthly payment? And so we're going to try $10 more than the minimum monthly payment to see what effect that has. And then option C is where we're just going to do a fixed amount. So I bought something, it's $500. I know that I can afford to pay $50 every month, so I'm just going to pay $50 every month until it's paid off. So I am going to go to the tool. We're going to take a look at what we need to enter there. So here is our credit card payment calculator. And it does break down option A, option B, option C. So option A is what if you only make the minimum monthly payment. Option B is where we add a little amount extra. And then option C is where we're doing that fixed amount. So for the credit card balance, when you do the activity, you are going to put in $500, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to pick a different amount. I'm going to do $2,000. So let's say I make a $2,000 purchase, but I am going to use the same interest rate. I'm going to do 19.99 because that is fairly standard. It says only make the minimum monthly payment. For right now, we are going to ignore this section. It will calculate new numbers for us. So a lot of times with credit card companies, the minimum monthly payment is $10 or 3% of what your outstanding balance is, how much money you owe. So I'm going to just leave that the same. For option B, it says, what if you make the minimum payment plus an additional amount each month? So it's got a default of $5. I'm going to do what you're supposed to do, which is add in $10. And then down at the bottom says, what if you pay a fixed amount each month? So for you, you're going to put in $50. I'm also going to try putting in $50. If that's below the minimum monthly payment for mine, it'll give me a hard time on that, but we're going to just take a look and see. Maybe I'll do $500. Okay, and then here underneath it says calculate. So I'm going to calculate. So for you, just to recap, you would put in $500 as your balance. You're going to put in 19.99 as your interest rate. For the additional monthly payment, you're going to put in $10. And then here for the fixed monthly payment, you are going to put in 50. I put in 500, but you are going to put in 50. And then click on calculate. Okay, so you will notice that in I click away from there, that we first need to start by filling in the monthly payment. So for option A and option B, the monthly payment is not filled in, but for option C, I know that we were going to do $50. So I need to start by figuring out what the monthly payment was. So if I go down to option A, now that I've clicked on calculate, it will tell me down here what that number is. So it says based on the information you've provided, your first minimum payment is $60. Your minimum monthly payment will decrease as you pay off your balance. So we're going to write that our payment here is going to be $60. You are going to have a different number, but because this is the activity that I'm doing, I'm going to put in $60. And then for option B, my payment here says we're going to take that $60 that we had to do, we're going to add on that extra $10 we said we were going to try. So this one, the payment is going to be $70. And you can fill that in your table. And then if you keep scrolling down, there's a section on calculating, and it tells me how long it would take to pay it off using that method, what the original balance was, how much interest we are going to pay, and then the total amount that we ended up paying altogether. So in your table, if we take a look, it's got time to pay off. So you're going to put how many years and months it's going to take, the total interest that you're paying, the total cost of the purchase. So I do just want to say here, it's interesting. For option A, it says if I make the minimum monthly payment, and that's all I do, and I'm not making any other purchases or adding on to my balance, if all I do is make that minimum monthly payment, it is going to take me 15 years and 3 months to pay off that $2,000. That's a very, very long time. And it also tells me that I'm going to pay $2,238.13 in interest, which is more than I actually borrowed in the first place. Which means that borrowing that $2,000 to buy whatever it was I bought ends up in the end costing me $4,238.13. That's crazy. If I could just add an extra $10 a month to that minimum monthly payment, it basically cut the time in half. $10. Who would think that $10 would make such a big difference? But by paying an extra $10 a month, instead of it taking 15 years and 3 months, it took 7 years and 6 months. And then I only paid, well, still a lot, $1,275.14 in interest for a grand total of $3,275.14. And the one where I actually just did the fixed amount, so I was doing $500 every month. So if I could afford to pay $500 every month, it actually takes 5 months to pay it off, which is weird because if you take $2,000 and divide it by 5, that only gives you 4, but you are getting charged interest. So you have to be able to afford that off, which is why, afford the extra amount of the interest, which is why it takes 5 months instead of 4. But I only end up paying $87.54 in interest, which is way less than $2,238.13. I will also say that if I could afford $500 every month, I would have saved myself $87 if I had saved for 4 months and then paid the amount with cash. So when you finish filling out that table, you will notice that there is a second part to it. And it says here, if you have a history of missing payments, the credit card company may raise your interest rate. And it'll tell you when you have a credit card in your agreement what that will get raised to. So a number that is came up when I was doing research was 29.24%. So you're going to try doing the same calculation that you just did using 29.24%. So all you need to do is go all the way back up to the top, change that annual interest rate to 29.24%, go back to calculate, which is just underneath option C, and then re-record all of the information. So I am just going to take a quick peek at mine. If the interest rate went up, it is now going to take me 32 years to pay off that amount, which is crazy. So a $2,000 purchase is going to end up costing me $9,570.94. Sorry, 47 cents if I only made the minimum monthly payment and I was really bad with my credit and they raised my rate because I'm not very good at paying my bills on time. So once you've filled in that table, that's all you need to do for today. And that's it for me.